Hey guys, today I wanted to talk about the four presidential forecast, the forecast from 538, The Economist, Our Progress, and JHK. This is just because these four forecasts are the main forecasts that I use in my videos. I've talked about all of these in the past, and these are the forecasts that I use when I consider making my videos as well as my prediction videos. So looking at these four electoral maps, I basically just put them on the electoral map, these four maps that you're going to see in a couple of moments. Here, starting off with the 538 electoral map that they have come out with, they give Joe Biden 319 electoral votes to President Trump with 219, and I am going by the worst to best margin for Joe Biden. So this is actually Biden's worst map out of these four. This is a very good sign for the Biden campaign, as he is already up 100 electoral votes, outperforming Trump's 2016 margin in his worst scenario out of these four. This is the 538 scenario. They only give Joe Biden 319 electoral votes. On this map, they project that the states of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, and Florida, as well as Nevada, will be lean states. I think that what's pretty surprising is the fact that New Hampshire is a lean state. I think New Hampshire will be a lot better for Biden than it was for Hillary Clinton in 2016. She barely carried this state, but I think that in 2020, I think Joe Biden is definitely going to improve significantly off of Clinton's 2016 margins here. He might have only placed fifth in the primaries. However, I'm sure a lot of the voters here are still going to turn out for the former vice president. And Minnesota, I think it's pretty interesting how it is expected to vote the same as Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Virginia is a likely state, as well as Colorado. New Mexico, they categorize as safe for the Democrats. I don't think this is the case. I think New Mexico will be just a tiny bit closer. Arizona, they think it will be a tilt state. I could see why, but honestly, right now, he's doing very well in the state of Arizona. I think a likely margin is more likely. However, 538 does give these states of North Carolina and Georgia to President Trump. These two states they give as only as lean states, which I think is a bit too large of a margin for these two states. Iowa and Texas also lean states on the 538 map, and then the state of Ohio they project will be a tilt state in 2020. They also think that the states of South Carolina, Montana, and Alaska will be likely states, and I definitely agree with these three classifications. However, I think that Texas will be a little closer, Iowa will be a little closer, as well as North Carolina and Georgia. I think that all five of these states should all be tilt states, including Ohio. But I think that this map is a pretty good map. This is the worst case scenario for him. However, I think that this is definitely one of the more possible scenarios that will occur on election night in November. Next, I'm going to take a look at the Economist forecast. They gave Joe Biden 334 electoral votes to President Trump with 204, giving Joe Biden a 130 electoral vote advantage over the president, and he would be outperforming Barack Obama's 2016 margins on this map. And on this map, they categorize the state of Maine as a whole, as well as the state of Nebraska. So I just gave Nebraska as safe for Trump overall, and then the state of Maine for Biden overall. So, not safe, but likely for Biden overall, just whatever the at-large vote I expected it to be. So that is why the second district out of both of these states are not both swing districts on this map. However, they do give these states of Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania as lean states. North Carolina also jumps to being a lean state. I think it's going to be a tilt state. I think it's not going to be a little bit closer. Florida, I guess it's all right. Florida also a lean state. I could see it being a lean state and a tilt state at this point. I think it's going to be very close, around 3 to 4% is my personal prediction right now. The state of Arizona also is a lean state now. It was a tilt state on the 538 map. I think that Arizona is going to be just barely a lean state in 2020. And then the state of Nevada is now a likely state. As well as that, the state of New Hampshire is also a likely state now, so I definitely agree with this. I don't think it's going to be a lean state like 538 predicts it to be. I think he's going to definitely outperform Hillary Clinton by quite a large margin. And then the states of Ohio and Georgia, these are both now tilt states for the president. Ohio was a tilt state last time, however, Georgia is now a tilt state. And then Iowa and Texas are lean states. I think that Iowa and Texas are going to be a little bit closer than that. I think at least Iowa should be a tilt state. And then the states of Missouri and Mississippi are likely states. I think that this could be possible. I think Missouri is really not going to be over 15%, nor is Mississippi. But I think that if these two states are going to be likely states, Montana definitely should also be a likely state. However, the state of Alaska is a likely state, and the state of South Carolina, surprisingly, is actually a lean state for the president. They expect that the state of South Carolina is going to vote similarly to both Texas and Iowa, which I think is just absurd. I think that South Carolina is definitely going to vote much more to the right than these other two states. I think these other two states should both be moved to the left, and the state of South Carolina a little bit more to the right. But in recap, The Economist gives Joe Biden 334 electoral votes to President Trump with 204. Next, looking at the JHK forecast, they give Joe Biden 335 electoral votes and President Trump 203 electoral votes. This map, based on the state categorizations alone, not categorizations, but just which states they expect to go to either candidate, is the same as The Economist, with one exception. The 2nd District of Nebraska, they do project to go to Joe Biden, as well as the 2nd District of Maine, which they both think are going to be tilt districts for the former vice president. They also expect that the states in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania will all be lean states once again. This is something we have seen in basically all of these projections. Minnesota, we see that it is a likely state, as well as the state of Virginia, a likely state for Joe Biden, and the state of Florida, another likely state, as well as Nevada and New Hampshire. And I apologize for this, Massachusetts should be a solid blue state. That was an accident there. And then Maine's at-large and 1st District vote are all solid for the Democrats. And for the Republicans, the states of South Carolina and Montana are likely states. I think Alaska should also be included in this category. However, this time it is not, and Missouri may be also in this category along with Indiana. But they only give 2 likely states. The states of Iowa, Ohio, and Georgia, these 3 states are all tilt states. I agree with this a little bit more than the other two forecasts in the way they categorize these 3 states. I think these states are going to be very close. I think definitely Biden can win these states, but at this point, I think they're still a little bit more in favor of President Trump. Texas, they think it's going to be a lean state. He might be pulling really badly there, but a lean margin is definitely possible for the president. But in my personal opinion, I do not think that the state of Texas is going to be a lean state. I think it's going to be a tilt state for the president. And of course, Arizona, they think, is going to be a lean state, as well as states of Colorado and New Mexico being solid Democratic states. And next, looking at the map that is the most favorable for the Democratic Party, this being the Our Progress forecast, basically almost mimicking the 2008 map for Barack Obama. Not mimicking, but the same electoral vote count, 369 to Donald Trump with 169 electoral votes, giving Joe Biden a lead of 200 electoral votes in the Electoral College, basically doubling the lead that 538 gives Joe Biden. But this is definitely one of the best case scenarios for Joe Biden right now. And the differences on this map, they think Michigan is going to be a likely state, not a lean state like we've seen in all 3 other forecasts. Pennsylvania, Wisconsin still lean states. Minnesota is a likely state. Surprising to see that Colorado is only a likely state on this map. And also Nevada is only a lean state. Arizona is also a lean state. And the state of New Hampshire is actually only a likely state on this map. And they also think that the 1st District of Maine is solid. The Maine at-large vote is a likely vote, and then the Maine 2nd District is tilt, and this is the only categorization where the 2nd District of Nebraska is a lean district, not a tilt district, and then the state of Virginia is a likely state. And the 4 states that really make the difference for Joe Biden on this map, Ohio, North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. These 4 states they think is going to be a tilt state, surprising considering that Florida was, lean states in most of the other forecasts. North Carolina is also now a lean state, as well as Ohio and Georgia. I think Ohio definitely has the better chance of going to Biden than Georgia. Georgia, at this point, I don't think it's going to go to Biden, but definitely could be possible. I think it's either going to be a tilt for Biden or Trump, so I could definitely see the state of Georgia flipping in 2020. But Ohio, Georgia, North Carolina, these 3 states really give Joe Biden the extra electoral votes that 538 did not. And then looking at the not lean, but likely Republican states, there are so many more on this map. Montana, Kansas, Missouri, Indiana, Mississippi, and South Carolina. I think Kansas is going to be safe. However, these other 5 states, I think a likely margin is very, very likely. And what I think is very surprising is the state of Alaska is a solid state. A state that wasn't even solid for Trump in 2016 is solid on the Our Progress forecast. However, this is expected to be a likely state, in my opinion. And then the state of Texas is a lean state, I guess, but honestly, I think that a tilt classification would be more accurate. And the state of Iowa, of course, is a tilt state on this map. And we have averaged out all of the projected margins that all four of these forecasters expect Joe Biden or President Trump to have, and this is our averaged out map. We think that Nevada, Arizona are going to be lean states. Colorado is going to only be a likely state instead of a solid state. We think that the three Rust Belt states that went to Trump in 2016 that Hillary Clinton lost by less than 1%, we think that these three states are going to be lean states. We predict that the state of Minnesota is going to be a likely state, along with the state of Virginia and North Carolina, as well as the states of North Carolina and Florida being, I think I said North Carolina, but this is New Hampshire, but the states of North Carolina and Florida being lean states for the former vice president, and then the states of Ohio, Georgia, and Iowa being tilt Republican states, the states of Montana, Alaska, Mississippi, and South Carolina being lean Republican states, and then the state of Texas that we project will be a lean state for the Republicans. Based on the averages here, we think that Texas is not going to be a tilt state, just based on these four forecasts. And based on these four forecasts, we give Joe Biden an average of 335 electoral votes. He will win both swing congressional districts, and Donald Trump 203, giving Joe Biden a 133 electoral vote lead over the president on election night. And so if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to my channel as well as liking this video. We're very close to reaching 600 subscribers, so I'd really appreciate it if you could help me reach that goal. Leave your thoughts as well as future video suggestions in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video.